In this video, I'm going to illustrate how to create stacked charts. In a stacked chart, the data is piled over one another and hence the name. We will cover the stacked column chart, stacked bar chart, and stacked area chart. The data in range A3 to F9 is Apple's product-wise revenue for years 2014 to 2019. It shows how much each product line has contributed to the total revenue. We can use stacked charts to visualize this type of data. Now, let me move on to create a stacked column chart for this data. Stacked column charts are useful for comparing parts of a whole and show how parts of a whole change over time. I'm going to select the cell range A3 to F9. First, you should go to the Insert tab and then click on the column chart icon. You can recognize the stacked chart icon easily. In these two icons, the data is stacked over one another. The first one is the stacked column chart, and the second is 100% stacked column chart, which we will cover later. So, I'm going to select this icon. This creates a stacked column chart with chart title, X and Y axis labels, and legend. You can observe that the iPhone is the largest contributor to Apple's revenue. Though its relative contribution to the overall revenue has decreased, it is still the most significant contributor. I will click on the chart title text box and change the title to iPhone is still the largest contributor to Apple's revenue. Next, we are going to create a stacked bar chart. The stacked bar chart is similar to a stacked column chart, except that you should use a stacked bar chart when the category text is long. Now, let me select the cell range A3 to F9. Next, I would like to click on the Insert tab and then click on the column chart icon. I will select the second icon under the 2D bar. You can see that this creates a stacked bar chart with chart title, X and Y axis labels, and legend. You can observe that services revenue is growing over the years. Let's change the chart title to While iPhone is the largest contributor, services revenue is growing. Let me show you how to create an area stack chart. Now, let me select the same data that is in cell range A3 to F9. Next, I will click on the Insert tab on the ribbon and then click on the line chart icon. In 2D area chart section, you can see a stacked area icon and 100% stacked area chart icon. You can use area chart to show the relationship of parts to a whole over time or categories, highlight the magnitude of change over time, or draw attention to the total value across a trend. I'm going to select the stacked area chart icon. This creates a stacked area chart with chart title, X and Y axis labels, and legend. Area charts are ideal for visualizing this type of data because it shows the contribution of various product lines over time. We can visualize the changes in the revenue of product lines over time, and we can see the trend of total revenue. Let me change the chart title to Apple's Revenue Sources. Let me show you how to change the chart style. First, click on the chart and then click on the brush icon. You can see many styles here. I'm going to select Style 2. You can see that this chart has a dark background and looks slightly better. In this video, I'm going to illustrate how to create 100% stacked charts. It would be best if you use 100% stacked charts when you want to compare the percentages that each value contributes to a total over time. The data in range A1 to H8 is Apple's service revenue breakup for years 2014 to 2019. It shows how much contribution each service category makes. You can see that the services revenue is increasing over the years. We can use stacked charts to analyze the breakup of Apple services revenue across various services. Now let me move on to create a stacked column chart for this data. I will select the cell range A2 to G8. Note that I should not include total data. I will then click on the Insert tab and then click on the column chart icon. So, I'm going to select this 100% stacked column icon. This creates a stacked column chart with chart title, X and Y axis labels, and legend. You will notice that the X-axis labels are the service categories and the legend is years. Excel automatically assigns categories to a series that has a higher number of data points. Here are the 6 data points for years, and also there are 6 service lines. When the number of data points is equal, which is the case here, Excel assigns categories to column labels. For time series data like this, it is best to have the years as category and services as legends. We can change this by switching rows with the columns. Let me show you how to do this. I will click on the chart and then I'm going to select the funnel icon. I will then click on Select Data, click on the Switch Rows/Column button and click OK. You can notice that all the columns are of the same height. You can't compare the revenue over the years. However, the chart is useful in understanding the contributions of each service line over the period. You can see that the App Store's contribution has been increasing over the years, whereas iTunes Store contribution has shrunk relatively. Let's change the title to App Store contribution to services revenue is increasing. Let me add data labels to the columns. The labels show revenue. Let's see if we can change this to percent. Unlike the pie chart, the 100% stacked chart doesn't show the percentage labels. Therefore, we should add percentages manually. The data in B12 to G17 is the percentage contribution of each of the services. Let me add percent labels for App Store and iTunes Store. There are many ways to do it, and I will show you one of the ways. I will double-click on the App Store data labels and then go to the label options. Here, I will select the value from cells checkbox. You can see that the data label range dialog box. In this, let me select the range F12 to F17, which has App Store values, and click OK. You will notice that labels display the percentage as well as values. Let's uncheck the value checkbox to show only the percent. Let me make it bold and also increase the font size. Let me repeat the process for iTunes. I will double-click on the iTunes Store data labels and click on Label Options, and then check value from cells. Range is E2 to E17, which is iTunes percent contribution, so I will select the range E12 to E17 and click OK. I will uncheck value to only show percent. Let's change to bold and increase the font size. You should repeat this process for all the categories. Here, you can see the final chart with all labels changed to percent. Next, I will show you how to create a 100% stacked bar chart for this data. I'm going to select the cell range A2 to G8 and then click on the Insert tab and then click on the column chart icon. So, I'm going to select this 100% stacked bar icon. This creates a 100% stacked bar chart with chart title, X and Y axis labels, and legend. You will notice that the Y axis labels are the service categories and the legend is years. Change the category to years by switching rows with the columns. Click on the chart, click on the funnel icon, click on Select Data, and finally, click on the Switch Rows/Column button and press OK. Let me change the chart size. Let's change the title to Contribution to Services Revenue over Time. Lastly, let me show you how to create a 100% stacked area chart for this data. I'm going to select the cell range A2 to G8 and then click on the Insert tab, and then click on the line chart icon. So, I'm going to select this 100% stacked area icon. This creates a 100% stacked area chart with chart title, X and Y axis labels, and legend. Since we want the proportion over years, I will switch rows with columns to get the years and the x-axis. Click on the chart, click on the funnel icon, click on Select Data, and finally, click on the Switch Rows/Column button and press OK. Let me change the chart size. You can see that the contribution of iTunes is going down, whereas Apple Music, which started in 2016, is getting traction. Let's change the title to Contribution of iTunes is decreasing, whereas Apple Music is getting traction. After making these charts, you can see that the area chart looks better when comparing across continuous data like the time period. In contrast, the bar and column chart works well when comparing across discrete data. In this video, I'm going to illustrate how to create stock charts. A stock chart is a style of financial chart used to describe price movements of a stock. Traders use stock charts to predict stock prices and trends. The data in this table is a typical stock price data. The data column has the trading date. Open is the stock price at the opening of the stock market. The high price is the highest price achieved by the stock during the day, whereas the low is the lowest price during the day. Close is the last price when the stock market closes at the end of the day. We cannot use the traditional bar, column, area, and pie charts to visualize a set of 4 price points for a given stock on a given day. We can chart the stock price using Excel's inbuilt stock chart type. There are variations in the stock charts. In this video, we will create HLC and OHLC charts. HLC stands for high-low close, whereas OHLC means open, high, low, close. Some traders in the stock market are typically interested in daily stock price fluctuation given by the difference between high and low prices and the close price. They think that the open price does not have any prediction power. Such traders use HLC charts. Let me show you how to create an HLC chart. Select data in range A3 to A12. Press the Control key and select data in C3 to E12. Then click on the Insert tab. In the Charts group, click on this waterfall icon. You will see a menu with various chart categories. Let me select the first icon in the chart category. This creates an HLC chart with chart title, X and Y axis labels, and legend. Let's see some data and understand the chart. On March 23rd, the stock reached its highest value of 152 and lowest value of 143.8 and finally closed at 149.6. The close icon is a marker and is not clearly visible, so let's increase its size. Double-click on the chart to open the pane. Now click on the close price. Click on the fill and line icon. Next click on the marker and then click on marker options. Let's change the size of the close icon to 7. The longer the length of the lines, the higher the fluctuation in the stock price, whereas shorter length means less fluctuation. You can see the legend is not very useful here, so let me delete it. Let's rename the title as MSFT Stock Price Trend, MSFT standing for Microsoft. Some traders believe that charts should include open price, and they use the OHLC chart, also known as the candlestick chart. Let me show you how to create an OHLC chart. I will select data in range A3 to E12. Next, I will click on Insert tab and click on the waterfall chart icon. I will select the second icon in the stock category. This creates an OHLC chart with chart title, X and Y axis labels, and legend. In a candlestick chart, the area between the open and the close is called the real body or candle. These lines above and below the real body are called wicks. You can see some candles are white, whereas some are black. White candles are up bar, whereas black candles are down bar. An up bar is created when the close price is more than the open price. In this bar, the open price is here, and the close price is here. A bar is known as a down bar when the close price is less than the open price. In this bar, the open price is here, and the close price is below here. Typical conventions to show an up bar in white color or green and a down bar in black or red. Let's change the colors of the down bars to red. I will double click on the chart and then click on any color of the black candles. Let me click on this black candle. Next, I will select the red color in the fill bucket. Finally, I will close the pane. Let me repeat this process and change up bar colors to green color. I will double click on the chart and then click on this white candle. Next, I will select the green color in the fill bucket. Let me close the pane. Let's try to understand some characteristics of these candles. This green candle doesn't have a lower wick, and this is because the open price is the same as the low price. A green candle does not have an upper wick when the close price is the same as the high price. A green candle without wicks is formed when the open price is the same as the low price and the close price is the same as the high price. When the open price and close price are the same, the candle doesn't have a body. A red candle doesn't have a lower wick when the close price equals the low price. A red candle does not have an upper wick when the open price is the same as the high price. A red candle without wicks is formed when the open price is equal to the high price, and the close price is the same as the low price. In this video, I'm going to illustrate how to create donut charts. One can use either the donut or pie chart to visualize the contribution of parts to the total. However, You can add multiple data series in donut charts, which is not possible in pie charts. This dataset has the proportion of wealth invested across various asset classes over the years by each section of U.S. households. I will create a donut chart to show the distribution of the year 2019. I will select data in the range B3 to B8 and then press the Control key and select the data in the range E3 to E8. Then click on Insert and select the pie chart icon, and then finally select Donut Chart. You can see that a donut chart gets created with a chart title and legend. However, the chart is small. Let me increase the chart size by dragging the handles. Let me add data labels. Click on the chart, click on the plus icon, and select the data labels. You can see that the stocks have the highest allocation, whereas bonds have the lowest allocation. I will change the chart title to, in 2019, U.S. households prefer stocks over bonds. We can make one of the slices exploded to make it stand out. First, let me decrease the donut hole size. I will double-click on the chart area, then click on the slices. The Format Data Series menu is visible in the pane. Click on Series Options. You can see the donut hole size slider is present at the bottom. Note that when the hole size is 0, this chart effectively is the same as the pie chart. Let me increase the hole size to 50%. Let us make the stock slice to stand out. When the donut explosion is changed, it gets applied to all the slices. Let me revert the explosion to 0%. To change the explosion of the stock slice, I will click on the slice. You can see that the labeled donut explosion has changed to point explosion. Let me change it to 20%. Let us see the impact of changing the angle of the first slice. The first slice is stocks. Let me change the angle to 40%. You can see the slices have rotated, and the first slice is now at a 40% angle. We will create a multiple series donut chart to see how the proportion of the investment changes over the years. Select B3 to E8. Click on Insert, click on Pie, select Donut Chart. Let me increase the size of the chart by dragging the bottom right handle. Let me shift the legend to the right. Let me add data labels. You can see that the labels are not clear. We can decrease the donut hole size to make them legible. Double-click on the chart, click on the first series, click on Series Options, decrease the donut hole size to 50%. You can observe that the legend color is not visible properly. And also, the legend font size is small. We can select the legend and increase the font size. Let me add the data series name. I will click on the chart. Next, I'm going to click on the filter icon. Let me move the mouse to Series 1 and then click on Edit Series. Select cell C2 in the select cell range and click OK. Now, when you hover the mouse over the series, you can see 2017. Similarly, let us change the series name of Series 2 to 2018 and Series 3 to 2019. Let's analyze this chart. You can see that the allocation of stocks and real estate have increased over the years, whereas allocation to bonds and cash have decreased. In this video, I'm going to illustrate how to create bubble charts. A bubble chart is a variation of the scatter plot. While dots on the scatter plot are of uniform size, the bubble size forms the third dimension in the visualization option, which is not possible in a scatter plot. Here, I have a data set with revenue, advertising expense, and profit for a multinational corporation operating across the world. Let me select data in the range C4 to E7 and click on Insert, and then click on the scatter plot icon, and then click on the first icon from the bubble category. You can see that this creates a bubble chart with chart title, X and Y axis labels, and bubbles of different sizes. Let me delete the grid lines. The X-axis and Y-axis labels have some negative values. Let us change the minimum value of the X and Y-axis as 0. Double-click on the X-axis labels and click on Axis Options. Change the minimum to 0. Double-click on the Y-axis labels and change the minimum to 0. Let us add the axis titles. Click on the chart and then click on the plus icon and check the Axis Titles checkbox. I will change the names of axis titles. The x-axis is revenue data, whereas the y-axis is the advertising expense. The bubble size denotes profit. Let me add data labels. Click on the chart, click on plus icon, and check the data labels checkbox. You can see that the data labels show advertising values. Let us change it to the region. I will double click on the data labels and then go to the label options in the pane. Here, I will select the value from cells checkbox. You can see that the data label range dialog box. In this, let me select the range B4 to B7 and click OK. You will notice that labels display the region as well as advertising expenses. Let's uncheck the Y value checkbox to show only the region. You can see that some of the bubbles are not clearly visible due to labels. We can change the label location. Let me show it. Click on the Australia label. Keep the left mouse button pressed and drag it. I will repeat it for North America. There seems to be a positive relationship between revenue and advertising expenses. The advertising expense increases as the revenue increases. However, we cannot say the same for revenue and profit. Even though North America's revenue is highest, Europe has the highest profit and hence the biggest bubble. Let me add the chart title, Europe generates the maximum profit. A bubble is a three-dimensional object, and its effect is not visible in this 2D chart. Let us change this chart to a 3D chart. I will first click on the chart. Let me now click on Design and then click on Change Chart Type. Here, I will select the 3D bubble chart icon and click OK. You can see that the bubbles are now in 3D and the effect is more pronounced. I can also create a 3D bubble chart from scratch. Let me select data in the range C4 to E7 and then click on Insert. I will then click on the scatter plot icon and finally click on the second icon from the bubble category. You can see that the 3D bubble chart is created. In this video session, I'm going to illustrate how to create a radar chart. The radar chart is also known as spider chart or web chart because of the spider web kind of image. The data set compares 3 suppliers on various parameters like innovation, quality, risk, etc. Each supplier is scored between 1 to 5 for each of the parameters. These parameters are not directly comparable. We can use a radar chart to analyze this data. Let me create the chart. Firstly, I will select the range B2 to E7, and then I will click on the Insert tab. Here, I will click on the waterfall icon. This is the radar chart group. Here you can see the 3 options. The first one is a simple radar chart. The second one is a radar chart with markers, and the third is a filled radar chart. I'm going to select the first option. This creates a radar chart with chart title, axis, and legend. You can see concentric pentagons with the parameters as the verticals of the outer polygon. The distance from the center to the edge is the dimensional axis scale. The values are plotted on this dimensional axis. The axis has a minimum value of 0, whereas the minimum value in our scoring system is 1. Let me change the minimum value. Double-click on the axis, select the axis options in the pane, and then change the minimum to 1 and then close the pane. Let me change the chart title to Supplier Ranking. You can notice a polygon for each legend. This is the polygon for alpha. Making trade-off decisions is simple when the polygon areas are substantially different. Here, in this case, Gamma Inc. has a lesser area than alpha and beta. However, radar charts are not suitable for making trade-off decisions when the polygon areas are equal or nearly the same as in the case of the area of alpha and beta. Let me change the chart type to filled radar to see the area visualization. I will first click on the chart. Let me now click on Design, which is a contextual ribbon item, and then click on Change Chart Type. Here, I will select the filled radar icon and click OK. You can see that the areas are clearly visible now.